All right. So, today I am gonna go over the book Who Created the Simulation? Discover Base Reality by the Pythagorean Illuminati. And, once you get into the work of the Pythagorean Illuminati, you understand that you are understanding the grand unified theory of everything. Where everything comes from. Base reality, what actually Stephen Hawking was trying to understand, was getting to, but actually couldn't quite understand and get to. But actually the Pythagorean Illuminati already has understood it. Because the key is understanding singularities and the two domains of existence. That there's not just the physical domain inside of time and space, dimensional, the world of physical reality. Like the true nature of the universe is that it's of dual domain. It's of two domains. That is alpha and omega. And omega is base reality. That's the dimensionless domain. That's the singularity, where r equals 0 and there's no distance between any points. And that is actually the frequency, the realm of frequency. This is the realm of quantum physics. And then the physical realm is the realm of general relativity. And both of the theories have had success, but they've never been able to unify them, because quantum physics deals with waves, and then general relativity deals with particles. And then so what the Illuminati have done, which is the grand unified theory of everything, which is actually unifying these theories, is connecting them with what's called the Fourier transform, which is a pure ontological, mathematical, equation that transforms, the dimensionless into the dimensional, the non-physical into the physical, the world of mind into the world of matter, the world of waves into the world of particles. So, the real problem of people understanding the nature of reality is that this is not base reality. Like the world of mind is the world of base reality. Like when you go to sleep and you go into the unconscious, that's when you're experiencing base reality. That's more real than this reality, because that's actually where everything comes from. Because when you get into it, you understand that you yourself are a black hole. You are a gateway to the omega realm, to the world of mind, to the domain of mind and unconscious. And that's what we are, that we have access to. Just naturally is being able to go into omega world. So or omega domain. And I'm starting to figure out stuff, because all this stuff's happening in my life. I'm writing papers about the grand unified theory of everything, and then I'm having rocket scientists that worked at Skunk Works in Area 51 with my grandfather, coming into my world, and I'm having him read the paper, and he's met Stephen Hawking, he's met Isaac Asimov, he's met Gene Roddenberry, he's met everybody, and this guy is definitely there for a reason. And it oh man, this is It's funny because Ramtha, one of my teachers said, you want it all right now. And it's true. Like, I just want to get there. I want to get where, I've been able to have this get to, people that can get me in for a Nobel Prize. Because I asked him, I'm like, is this Nobel Prize worthy? And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, oh yeah. But it's like, I would give credit to the Pythagorean Illuminati because they'd be like, how'd you come across this? And I'd be like, I learned it in these books. And even David Adair, who is definitely someone who definitely thinks outside the box, because all of the stories that I've heard about him, he's just somebody that just doesn't think like other people, but that's actually because he is the host to an intelligence named Pythalon. And that's where a lot of these ideas are coming from, is they're being downloaded and stuff from intelligences that are with us, into this world to change it. And those are definitely the ones who created the simulation. Because I'm constantly, I'm just constantly learning more and more as I am refining the grand unified theory. And when I talk to David Adair, he's like, most people would not even be able to read this, to understand this, because he said he had to go over my paper 4 times. And you can really tell he really went over it, and he really checked over the math and stuff and everything and all the definitions and stuff. But he said that I did it. He's like, you did it. He's like, you did it. He's like, you shouldn't be hesitant, or you shouldn't be doubtful or anything. He's like, and then he was talking about how, he has got people that he wants to present it to, and how those people would at DARPA, because he knows what the meaning of this is. And actually, he's the only person so far that I've actually talked to that actually understands the meaning and importance of what I have discovered. That the Pythagorean Illuminati discovered, but I discovered through reading all of their books. You know what I'm saying? So I give credit to the Pythagorean Illuminati, but I am just happy that I'm able to understand what I was reading, and that's the grand unified theory of everything. And he even said, he's like, most people wouldn't be able to understand this, and but he's the kind of mind that is able to. So that's exactly who I needed to read that, because he's had all the experiences with the supernatural, and he's seen the UFOs, and he worked with my grandfather, called the Maestro, and they worked on all these secret projects together, back engineering, alien technology, and this is just incredible what I'm coming to find out, which I'm understanding is my mythos of my life, which this is the story of my life, which I'm actually living out and walking out, which is absolutely incredible. And it does formulate into me having this, incredible childhood where, I went through, everything I did, and that led to now, and then all these things are happening in my life that are like little clues, little synchronicities that are just letting me know who I am, which is actually one thing that they showed in the movie Paycheck, when he was involved in time travel and the black ops, and actually back engineering time travel technology is what he was involved in. and then he had to get his memory erased. But he was smart enough to leave himself clues about what he was involved in, and that whole movie's about him using the clues to remember who he was and what he was involved in, which is exactly what is happening in my life right now. And the truth about it is, like, I have been in time travel. I have been in the secret space program. I know all of these technologies and stuff exist because I understand the grand unified theory of everything. They already figured it out. Like the elites and the secret space program, they actually already know this. And the thing is like with talking to David Adair, you know, our minds together, like he's talking about how he built an engine, you know, because he like that created an artificial black hole. And I'm like forgot the name of the actual engine, but that's major. That's a major breakthrough and turning point in understanding the universe and technology and stuff, because if you're able to create an artificial black hole, which he did, you're creating a portal to Omega Domain, and you're able to go in it. So, and what I'm understanding about time travel and stuff, that's what is needed to be done, is like a phase shift. You know what I'm saying? Which is from alpha into omega, and that's what UFOs do. You know, by actually creating black holes. Because I've seen the technology where they literally have created a black hole in front of it and then just went into it and it was gone. So, you know, all these things come in my life, like I'm gonna have to pick his brain more about that. But it's significant because that's what I understand. I'm in the process is understanding black holes, singularities, you know, zero and infinity. Which is actually funny because he said the propulsion system was an infinity, a loop, like, and that's what created the black hole. So it's just like these are all like revelations, to like astounding revelations that I'm just so amazed by and astounded by and awed by, because I understand the technology that the secret space program uses because I've been involved in it, and now I know that my part in it is being able to explain it to people. You know what I'm saying? Which definitely would be seen as magic, but does have a scientific explanation to it. And that's what I'm, you know, my model of the grand unified theory is able to explain the physics of the secret space program and time travel and consciousness. So, oh man. Anyways. So, here we go. Meet your simulators. Communication about the nature and purpose of the simulation. The simulators never hide themselves. They bit themselves right into the human story. They were there from the beginning. They want humanity to know who they are. The signs and portents of them are everywhere, but people just aren't paying attention. We shall now provide the Q&A you requested. We have included all the questions you posed and answered all of them. Of course, answers are only as good as your ability to comprehend them. Answers are not a democracy. They're not for everyone. They're only for those with eyes and ears to hear. Eyes to see and ears to hear. They're only for the wise. The unwise can find no answers and answers, just more confusion. They cannot accept answers. They reject answers. We can do nothing for them. Only the seekers of truth. As Robert Hyland said, democracy can't work. Mathematicians, peasant, and animals, that's all there is. So democracy, a theory based on the assumption that mathematicians and peasants are equal, can never work. To work. Question: is this a simulation? Answer: yes. Question: I don't understand what that means. Can you explain what this simulation is? Answer: here's the simplest way to explain the simulation. It's a world you live in that is not base reality. You believe it is, but it isn't. There's a deeper reality, unsimulated, from where the simulation you inhabit is projected. The world you inhabit, no matter how seemingly real, is actually a sophisticated illusion, a mirage. It's not the real deal, the thing in itself. It was made for you by others who do not live in this simulated reality with you. They are outside it, though they can enter via avatars. There's a true reality and it's possible to live there. But if you're living in a simulation, you're not in true reality. The reality you are in has been constructed by others, and you will never know unless you reach base reality. How closely this simulation approximates base. It might be nothing like base, just a fantasy novel, has very little connection to the real world. Although it may be a very convincing fantasy that you find utterly believable. So, it's funny because Rantha the Enlightened One is definitely someone that's outside of this simulation. And I started learning from him and, all of his books and stuff like that. And there was a one book where he was basically talking about fairy tales and Cinderella. And, how Cinderella, wished and stuff like that for the things to happen to her life, and they happened to her. You know what I'm saying? The pumpkin turned into the carriage. You know what I'm saying? The tattered clothes turned into the dress. And the mice turned into horses and stuff like that. So that's a lesson, from the enlightened ones, that fairy tales are real, and what you think actually happens in this does come from base reality, from outside of the simulation, and it comes into the simulation and creates it. So, they say that, they can enter via avatars. So the people, right there. I'm definitely in an avatar because I understand this is, I'm existing outside of the simulation, which is outside of time and space, which is in base reality, which is in the dimensionless realm, because I've had dreams, I've experienced that reality, that domain. And if you've had dreams, you've automatically refuted scientific materialism. So this is just easily explained for anybody that wants to understand more of the nature of reality, especially atheists and scientists, because you can't just explain away dreams that they are some just electrical brain signals that are creating the images in your brain. That's not what dreams are. They're part of consciousness, and consciousness is being projected into this reality from outside of reality, from a mind, from a monad, which is your monad, which is this person next to me monad. We are all monads, which are actually zeros, but they're actually infinite too. They include everything in them, infinity. So zero and infinity is included in a singularity. So all minds are actually singularities, and everybody comprised is the supreme monad and supreme singularity, which is God. And we are monads that are projecting this existence into reality. So what is important to understand is how it can be transformed. Who are the simulators? To explain that, we need to explain base reality to you. This will be the ride of your life. It will change your understanding of everything. It will change you irrevocably. So here we go. Hold on to your hats. Weapons hot. And this is where, anyone, people that are mythos oriented, people that are religious, that believe in something higher, something they can't explain, all that stuff, will actually be able to understand this more than logos-oriented people, like science people, mathematicians and stuff like that, because they just flat out refute the unobservable, the unseeable, and all that stuff, which religious people accept that. So the point is to be able to acknowledge that there is something that's unobservable, unmeasurable, and lies outside time and space, because that's where the black hole goes to, is into the other domain, which is Omega. Base reality. God sleeps in the rock, dreams in the plant, stirs in the animal, and awakens in man. Ibn Arabi. The divine spirit slumbers in the stone, dreams in the animal, and is awakened in man. Schelling. And it's like all these, the Illuminati, like once you get into their books, all 233 of them, you will find every single great person that has ever did work, all compiled in their work. That's why this is the greatest work ever done. It's so beautiful that it is the grand unified theory of everything. It explains the music of the spheres, everything you've, like the soul, like God, everything is just in the secret religion of illumination. And it does connect you to your soul, which is, amazing. But it took me a lot of studying to get to, a lot of meditation, a lot of studying, and to even get to the Illuminati, I had to take in everything in, and not be parochial, which is staying to one belief, one thing. I just took everything in. I saw from both sides. I saw everything and just studied everything, and that actually led me to the truth, which the Pythagorean Illuminati have. Because they are outside of the simulation, and they are communicating inside of the simulation, like the crew of the Nebuchadnezzar, which they actually said in one of their books, like to the people here that are trying to wake up Neos in the Matrix with this knowledge, because it is the escape of the demiurge. Not the escape, but its defeat. Base reality is all about the one. The philosopher Hegel said, the truth is the whole is the one. What is the one? Well, that's what philosophy has always tried to answer. Religion too, and spirituality. Science struggles with this question because it sees it as metaphysical, hence outside the physicalist paradigm of science. So, just to, anyone, because anyone that's been with, what I've been doing, I constantly say, science does not acknowledge the metaphysical, so that's why they'll never unite everything. They'll never know anything more besides the physical. It's easy. All this follows Occam's razor. And, So, philosophy struggled with the, religion too, and spirituality. So, trying to figure out what the one is. Like, what is the one? What kind of thing could the one be? It's either mental or non-mental. There is no other option. Traditionally, the one is God, a perfect mind that creates everything else. Who is God? God is the most extraordinary being. To imagine how amazing God is, imagine God before creation. God entirely on his own. God in himself. Imagine God before he has done anything. What is he in his most primitive state? He is pure potentiality, pure latency, pure dormancy, pure formlessness. He is a night without end, an impenetrable darkness. He is everywhere and nowhere. Time and space do not exist. So, definitely coming from a Pythagorean illuminatist perspective, understanding this is important because, science says that everything, came, they pull out a magic rabbit, you know what I'm saying? And they aren't actually able to explain what was before the Big Bang. So they just basically say, oh, nothing was before the Big Bang. So everything just magically fucking happened. But something had to be before it, and there was. It's base reality. It's a pure mental frequency singularity, and pure potential, pure dormancy, you know what I'm saying? Which is actually what each person is in their selves at any time. You're just pure potential, which is what a mind is. And when you go in inwardly, you go inside, because there's inside and there's outside. There's subjective and objective. They're both actual domains, but they are united, and they're united through a thought, which is a sinusoidal wave, which is transformed. A dimensionless thought is a dimensionless thing that is transformed into a thing, into a particle. And that's what ontological mathematics says, with the nature of the universe and the structure of the universe actually being mathematical, instead of it actually being a tool to figure things out. The universe is actually made of mathematics. And that's the key to being able to become an idealist instead of a physicalist, physical empiricist, scientist. What does God do in this state? He does nothing. In fact, in many ways, he strongly resembles nothing. And right there, it's like, I understand this because, like, when I started practicing, this, so, oh man, I could just open up the can of worms right now, which I'm about to. But speaking about, what does the state? He does nothing, and in fact, in many ways, he resembles nothing. So just intuitively, without even knowing all this knowledge, I know now. I just, I started meditating and being in darkness and understanding the internal, reality as opposed to the external. And that turned me into esoteric, and there's esoteric or exoteric, but experiencing nothingness and stillness. In stillness, you experience the nothingness. You get to 0 point. And it took me definitely years to be able to get to 0 point, but I definitely got there. And was guided through many like masters and center masters like Thoth and Ramtha, getting me there through their knowledge, like, and all the other people in the world that, you know, are meditators and stuff, but was able to reach 0 point. And once I reached 0 point, you know, be still and know that I am God. Like that is a state of like zero entropy. You know what I'm saying? And that's actually where energy, 0 point energy comes from. You know, unlimited energy. And it's like you understand the dynamics and stuff of 0 point when you actually get there. And that was my awakening to 0 point. And you know, once that happened, I started understanding like anti-gravity and all this stuff and how it's related to 0 point, and that like in a gravitational drive, like a black hole being able to create 0 point, and and that's how they do it. So that's what 0 point is. How should we characterize this state? He is in a state of sleep. He is unconscious. This is an astonishing God because he is pure being, yet appears to be nothing. The sleeping God seems like non-existence rather than existence. That's part of his charm, his mystery. Atheists always believe he's not there at all. They can't tell the difference between God and himself. God asleep. God is pure unconsciousness and nothing at all. Godless nothingness. Many atheists believe that base reality is nothing at all, in which some random fluctuation, some extraordinary quantum tunneling event occurs for no reason in existence, suddenly exists. So, it's funny though because God definitely exists. God is inevitable. And, you know, what's happening right now is actually, it's funny because I talked about this in another video, but I didn't get... Richard Dawkins and Jordan Peterson, they were in a... they're in a little debate with each other. You know, one's arguing the existence of God and one is not. You know, one is coming from a purely mythos perspective, one is coming from a logos perspective. And, you know, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. But like Jordan Peterson is trying to use the mythos, which is not logical, and then Richard Dawkins is like he's like, do you believe in the virgin birth? Do you believe that Jesus Christ, you know, had a father? And then Jordan Peterson, you know, starts going into this. He's like, I don't quite, you know, I'm not one to say that I quite understand the complete texture of the scripture, you know. And then he starts going around in these circles and stuff, which is not straight up. Which I understand why he's doing that. It's because what he believes in is not actually logical and reasonable. But what, you know, obviously Richard Dawkins believes in is logical and reasonable. But the thing is that Richard Dawkins only thinks that that is the only reality. There is no other reality. A reality that lays outside of time and space is dimensionless. You know, dimensional. Like, he only thinks that physical reality is real. So he doesn't have the full picture, you know. and Jordan Peterson isn't able to explain it. So you know, atheists don't believe in God. They don't believe that there's a creator, but there is a creator, and it is there, and it is we're all it. You know what I'm saying? We're creating our thoughts, and the elite know this. And this is gonna, as disclosure happens more and more, this is what people are gonna start understanding. And then once they start understanding that we create our thoughts, and then we start getting together and stuff, what do you think is gonna happen then? And especially like if we choose the enlightened path instead of the endarkened path. Of quantum tunneling, Katrina Kramer wrote, imagine releasing a quantum mechanical particle, like an electron or proton, into a space on one side of a potential energy hill. Since you're sure that the particle can't escape, it's not energetic enough to climb over the hill. You leave it to its own devices. But when you go back to check on it, the particle is gone. You find it happily sitting on the other side of the hill, having sneaked straight through it. Tunneling particles can simply pass through energy barriers. They don't have the energy to surmount. So, so this is pretty awesome though, because David Adair actually told me a story about what him and my grandfather went through and what they were working on, and they actually teleported a grapefruit. Like they teleported a grapefruit, from one side of the lab to the other, and he witnessed that with my grandfather, and so that definitely goes into teleportation, and how they were working on it and stuff, but not getting it quite right because he said that the grapefruit wasn't exactly the same when it came out on the other side, like the inside was mush and stuff, and they didn't get the math right. But that can be fixed, obviously, and things can be teleported. So that's going to be one of the things that we're getting ready for, to be able to see it, because these ships that are actually flying around all the time, and I'm just talking about the secret space program ships. I'm not talking about the Syrian ship or the Arcturian ships or the freaking Lyran ships or all the gray ship, all the other shit. I'm just talking about the secret space program ship. But they do have the ability to teleport. I do know that we have this ability, and it's been said through people, we have technology, but it's thousands of years advanced, and I'm just talking for the secret space program's technology. The technology that's beyond that is something that the secret space program does not even understand. So atheists believe that existence somehow tunnels through non-existence and completely unexpectedly pops up on the other side as existence. The alternative is God, if they would accept anything other than God. The ancient Greeks knew who the true God was, Hypnos, the god of sleep. In some stories, they said that Hypnos was the fatherless son of Nyx, night. Night birthed him. In other stories, they said that he did have a father, Erebos, darkness. In fact, Nyx and Erebos were not the parents of Hypnos. Rather, they were aspects of him, the god of sleep. As pure unconscious is pure darkness, pure night, and as close to pure nothingness as it gets. God is the deep emptiness, the profound absence, the cosmic expectation. What will the god of sleep do, and how will he do it? He is prime mind. Mind is pure potential, which has not yet done anything. Oh, all right. So, yeah, I've been talking for 40 minutes now. But, my mind, it's obvious that, my mind, through having the Kundalini awakening, and then experiencing all the abduction experiences and all that stuff, and then, going through the meditation thing with studying all the books, it's very clear that I'm thinking on a higher level, and actually I'm on such a high level that rocket scientists like are like having to say they're having to read my paper 4 times to understand it. Which is a complete honor, because David Adair is the most he is my hero, man. That guy's incredible. So and he said it too. He's like, you're figuring things out, is what he told me. And then he's like, people they're gonna have to look out for you, is what he was saying. And like, I understand that, because I definitely am in a league of my own, or a league of our own, because we are the enlightened ones, and I understand why now. So yeah, it's important to understand what nothingness is, pure potentiality, and then, you know, in that, actually being able to project from nothing into something, that potentiality, that vibration, that resonance and stuff, into physical, into potentiality. That's the key. That's the secret. That's the key. You know, and I actually had a dream with like this master in robes handing me this key that, you know, this key was just like just so intricate. And I know it's because I understand the secret, which is the grand unified theory of everything, which is that there's 2 domains, you know, and that frequency turns into form. So, psychologist Carl Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. And that's, Carl Jung knew what's up, though, because he was all about the unconscious and making the unconscious conscious, which is actually what the tarot does. The tarot's a tool for doing that. It's not like mystical woo-woo, and people are like, you know, oh my God, like, because I had this one person actually, you know, condemn me in the name of Jesus Christ because I studied the tarot. So it's not mystical woo-woo, it's made to make the unconscious conscious. And, you know, that's what happened was, when I did meditate, I went into the unconscious, and that got me deeper and deeper, because I do get deeper and deeper the more and more I go into my unconscious, and the more and more I understand, and the more and more I figure out about my life, what's happening, you know, the hero's journey in my life, you know, and everything in my life is the unfoldment of what I already thought into existence, and this is the proof. So, all right, I am gonna stop there. All right, one more. Okay, one more. The unconscious sleeping God is fated to do something astounding. What can a sleeping mind do? It can do only one thing only. It can dream. Hypnos, the god of sleep, darkness, and the deep unconscious, the formless god of pure potential, finds something irresistibly welling up in his mind. A dream. This is the foundational dream, the first emanation of the profound unconscious. It is the dream of form, and it comes in the form of the dream of another being, a being defined by form. We might call this other being the Son of God. It is none other than Morpheus, son of sleep and god of dreams, god of forms. So bam, this is all illumination, and this is all this religion is just is way better than all the other religions. It's so much more mysterious, and all the knowledge and all of the logic and all of the history and mythology. It's just so beautiful, and it explains everything. And the whole thing about a dream, this is all a dream. It's all coming from a dream. And I understand that at the base level, though, because when I started the practice of the great work, I created an image for my dream in my mind, and then literally it started happening around me. And it hasn't stopped because I haven't stopped doing it. So I'm literally living my dream right now. All right. That's it. Till next time.